Hello and welcome to SK Live. I'm your host Shanvi Sadana. Today we have with us Ryo Takahashi, who's the major head of Major League Baseball in India. How are you doing? Welcome to the show.
Hi, Shanivi. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you for your time. It's an absolute pleasure to be able to be here and speak to you about some of the initiatives that we have planned for Major League Baseball. So thank you for having us.
You're most welcome. My pleasure. So, what is the reason behind opening with the office out of the US in India and that too in Delhi?
Yeah, we've been looking into the Indian market for a while now, for the past several years, having done some research of our own before ultimately making the decision. Our goal is to grow the sport around the world, obviously not just India. And then with the growing opportunities of sports in India, we really think that it's the right time to be able to introduce the game here. And secondly, with the nation so in love with bat and ball sport like cricket, it led us to believe that the similarities and the familiarity give us a fair opportunity to introduce baseball and for it to become a mainstream sport in India.
Right, but do you think that, sorry, you saying?
No, sorry. And then to your second part of your question, why Delhi?
Yes,
It was based on where our business partners are located and just the logistics of things. It made sense for us to start in the capital and then look beyond in the future.
Okay, so my next question is, so do you think a country obsessed with cricket, do you think baseball will be able to break through that notion?
Yes, absolutely. We're certainly not here to replace cricket or take over by any means. But as I mentioned earlier, cricket, baseball, and softball are the only sports where you throw, catch, and hit a ball. So I do believe that these skills are transferable, and that the familiarity of it can help us gain interest in sports fans who want to watch it, consume it on TV, and then the younger children who want to give it a chance to play. And in terms of developing baseball players, I strongly believe that if we're able to provide the right platform for participation at the youth level, and then the right coaching to go along with that, we definitely should be able to see some success here as well.
Okay, so are you planning to recreate the same narrative as that movie, The $1 Million Arm, and which is also, the television reality show?
We've certainly we've been working with JB Bernstein, who is the founder of the $1 Million Arm, and we were hoping to host another competition this fall. As you can imagine, the pandemic has put a halt to our plans for 2021, but we look forward to planning for the 2021 season, and with the intention to make it an annual event and not just a one and done event. While it would be great to create the same narrative in finding an Indian athlete who makes it to the big leagues, I think the objective of the $1 Million Arm for us, especially moving forward, is to use that platform to really promote the game in India and make it relevant to the general public. And, as you mentioned, we hope to put out compelling content, whether it's in the form of a reality TV show or not, is yet to be determined. We haven't gotten that far yet.
Okay. So are you getting enough support from everywhere to introduce the sport to a professional level in India?
Right. With the professional level, again, I think our first goal is to build that ecosystem for the game where it is played by kids and adults across the country. There certainly are elite Indian baseball players currently existing, and people that interact with MLB through our multiple media platforms. Having a professional baseball league would be important in building part of that ecosystem. But I think we're still a few years away from seriously considering what we could do with that. So it's not something that we're directly looking into as of now.
Okay. So are you also tapping in the social aspiration levels of the Indians while making a breakthrough with the baseball?
Mhm. And that's a really good question. Obviously, social acceptance is very
Yeah.
important when you're trying to develop a new sport or any new
Yes.
idea in a
Right.
new market. But I
Yeah.
think the best thing about baseball is that it's fun. It's fun for the boys and girls who play. It's
Right.
fun for the parents who want to watch it. So if we're really able to stick to that true north, we will build a baseball ecosystem that we hope someday can be part of the social fabric of India.
That's true. And also, which all cities are you targeting to reach out to the masses? Like, is it tier one or tier two, like metropolitan cities, or just what's your plan?
Sure, sure. And we certainly wish we could say we've been to every city and we have a little bit of a presence. But
It is a
obviously,
huge country.
yes, that would take many, many years. But in terms of what we've done so far with our MLB First Pitch program, which is a
Right.
school program, we've reached over 320 schools in New Delhi, Mumbai, and Bangalore. And we definitely consider expanding into the less populated cities and hope to have more of a presence there. But as of now, it's just the three big cities that we have our coaches in.
So, how you mentioned schools. So, how was it to deal with the schools and introduce that in schools?
I think schools are going to be an essential part of everything that we do.
Yes.
The MLB First Pitch program that I just mentioned does
Right.
just that. And basically, we conduct baseball sessions in these schools, in the 320 schools that we were able to go to. And the introduction of the sport for us is phase one. And then
Right.
in the coming years, we hope to move into the retention stage, which we see as phase two. And so, we'll start narrowing down our 320 schools to schools that move into the retention stage, and essentially host regular baseball sessions where the kids are able to play, whether it's once a week, twice a week during their physical education program or after school as a side program. And we'll send in our coaches to conduct these sessions. And we hope to expand the number of schools and the cities that we're present in to overall increase the active participants in school.
That's wonderful, actually. And is baseball a real expensive sport to play, or how does it work?
Right. Well, you need a bat, you need a ball, and you need some gloves to play. Obviously, if you start playing at a higher level of competition, there's a lot more equipment that comes with it that potentially can get very expensive. But I honestly don't think that it's too much different than what you would need for cricket.
Okay. Okay. So it's medium sort of a thing.
Right. Right.
So we Indians are producing good fast bowlers these days and have the reputation of owning several big hitters of the cricket ball, right? So do you think that these abilities to throw the ball and swing the bat on a higher speed would be the ideal ways to tap the best talents from the country?
That's again another great question, and I've had the privilege to watch a lot of cricket during my lockdown days. But as I mentioned earlier, there's certainly many similarities in the two sports and skill sets that could translate either way. And our job is to really provide that platform for kids to be able to participate and develop these skills with the right coaching for baseball, so that they can utilize the natural talent that they already have to
Yeah.
become successful in playing baseball. And I think that's one of the advantages that I spoke about earlier in the similarities that we see there.
That's true. So, what kind of an income level would a middle level baseball player would make if they're playing?
Right. And, it completely varies depending on what level of baseball you play. I'm sure if you, Google search that, you'll get the exact numbers. And our main goal is really to just grow that baseball ecosystem for India specifically, which will definitely include elite development. We talked about the introduction and the retention, and then the next phase would definitely be the elite development. And we want to make the Indian national team as strong as they can be. We certainly do want to get Indian players playing in the major leagues, and that'd be great for us, and that'd be great for the country. And certainly they will be compensated well if they make it to the major league level. But I guess it's not really the sole focus of what we want to do. So I think if we create that ecosystem, it gives these players an opportunity to reach those higher levels of playing, which is what we're here to do.
Right. So coming back to the $1 million arm, you selected only 2 players, Dinesh Patel and Rinku Singh, from amongst 37,000 competitors. So how are you planning to promote once the talent hunt would begin?
As I said, we've been in conversation with JB Bernstein, with the team from $1 Million Arm. We were just getting into the conversation of the specifics for the 2020 season when the pandemic hit. So we haven't really determined what the end result would be, but we would certainly look into selecting a group of athletes who excelled in the competition to get them a higher level of training to basically further develop skills that they already possess. And so, whether that's going to be an opportunity to impress in front of the Major League Scouts or to train at one of our centers that we have around the world is quite frankly determined. But those are some of the options that we're looking into.
Okay. So are the Indians getting stronger with time? And also we've seen, there are many more fast bowlers coming across from India. So is it that the diet has become stronger and the eating habits and the quality of food is getting better? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think certainly one indication that we have seen more and more is that more Indian athletes have been successful on the international stage, whether it's PV Sindhu in badminton or the likes of Virat Kohli in cricket, and they've had immense success. And the development in sports in general has improved a lot in the recent years. That comes from the improvement of technology or the science, which has helped athletes become more educated about their body and preparing for their competition. And I think this can be said around the world, not just in India, but it's produced stronger and faster athletes in general who are in a better position to succeed in their respective sport.
And what's the diet like for a strong baseball player?
Nutrition is a very important part of development, really for any sport. And as mentioned earlier, there's so much information out there on what athletes should be consuming, and there's an extensive amount of focus into nutrition. And certainly, all the 30 clubs in MLB have a specialist monitoring the eating habits of their athletes, and making sure that the food that is provided in the clubhouse is fit for the long season that baseball players have to endure. I'm obviously not a specialist on that, so I can't give you the specifics, but I think, there's just so much information out there that, it's constantly changing. What I saw 2 years ago in a clubhouse might be completely different today.
Right. So do you think that the Indian corporate are interested in a sport somewhat similar to cricket?
I certainly hope so. I think we have a good plan to develop the game from the grassroots level. Increasing participation combined with a good mix of content and exciting live events like the $1 Million Arm. I think if we're able to lay down those foundations, I think corporates will see the value and the potential that baseball has in India. And certainly, hopefully, that leads to the conversation of certain opportunities to form partnerships.
And do you also plan to train Indian coaches as well to make it more relevant?
Yes, absolutely. We strongly believe that good coaching is essential for baseball development, especially here in India. We've hired 6 local coaches so far, who has helped us conduct our first pitch sessions. And we've been conducting video sessions with these coaches, 5 times a week during lockdown, and we've seen immense improvement from all of them over the past 6 months. And we've done coaching sessions in Mumbai, Bangalore, inviting over 30 coaches in each of the for each city in a 3-day session. And once we hit lockdown, we obviously had to shift gears and adjust to what was appropriate for the time being. But we've partnered with the Amateur Baseball Federation of India, the ABFI, and we've conducted online coaching webinars, reaching, I believe, 14 states and over 1,200 people, which has been very successful. And obviously, when things open up again, we certainly hope to reconnect with all the coaches and that we've already had the chance to, and meet more, and definitely spend some time developing their coaching skills on the field.
So which all cities are these coaches from?
They're right now based in the 3 cities that we have our focus on. So we have 2 in Delhi, 2 in Mumbai, and 2 in Bangalore. These are the guys that basically conduct our first pitch sessions for us.
Okay. And what are the challenges that you face for baseball in these testing times?
While it really hasn't been the ideal situation to learn a new market and develop a new sport in a new country for us, I've been very pleased with the success that we've been able to have so far within the limitations that we have faced. I just spoke about the online webinars that we've been doing, the video sessions that we've had with our internal coaches. We also have several sessions with umpires, and I think it all leads to what we can do now, which is building that relationship and understanding what the reality of baseball is here today. And I think that is going to put us in a good position to succeed once things open up and we're able to get on the field with all these people that we've met and built relationships with. So certainly many challenges, but I would like to say that we've been very pleased with what we've been able to do.
Okay. There's a question from the audience. Would you like to answer it?
Sure.
Okay, so Mr. Dinesh Reddy is asking, is the first pitch program good enough to promote baseball?
I think in the long term, there has to be multiple stages. As I mentioned earlier, our MLB First Pitch program is really at the basis of what we do. And until we create that wide base of participation, it's hard to find that elite development or anything in between. So while it's not the only initiative that we have in line for the long term, I think having a strong foundation with the First Pitch program is going to be essential for us to build those blocks to get to the top of the pyramid, whether it's elite development or national teams development.
That's good. There you go, Mr. Dinesh. Your question has been answered. And when do you plan to start with the baseball operations in full swing? Now that the lockdown is kind of opening up and things are getting a little better in India.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there's a lot of aspects that go into it. Obviously, when the government bans are lifted and we can move a little bit freely, that's one indication. But we also need to assure the safety of our participants, first of all, and then certainly of our staff that's included. But we are ready. We are ready, and we can't wait to get out. We've been focusing on just learning more and more about this beautiful country as a team, and building those relationships that I talked about, whether it's with the partners, with our coaches, our players that we've had the privilege to work with. And so, we've seen them on screen for 6 months, 7 months, and we just can't wait to get out there and continue with our journey on the field.
Yes, definitely. We all hope and wish the best for baseball coming to India. And also, what are the hurdles that you are facing, to promote this sport in India, especially?
Mm-hmm. Well, obviously the pandemic has been the biggest challenge for all of us, not just in sports. But even if you put that aside, I think anytime you try to undertake something on the scale of what we will do in India, you will have challenges. I think it's important for us to be patient and understand the long-term plan, kind of like the question that we just had from our audience. But there's a lot of questions about, is this the right thing? Is it really going to lead to the next thing?
Right.
But so I think we truly believe in our plan and our process. We've had some success in different parts of the world, and we know what we are good at, and we're still learning about the market here in India. So
Right.
hopefully we can make those adjustments, which is obviously going to be the challenge, that we to be able to do what we are best in a way that suits India. And I think when we're able to make those adjustments, it'll definitely help us take a big step forward towards developing the sport in this country.
That's true. And there's another question from the audience. Mr. Naveen is asking, is MLB looking for players who are already talented? With little more efforts, they can achieve more heights. How is MLB planning to improve on that aspect? Naveen from Bangalore.
Great, thank you for your question. And I think it would be great if we were able to find a player that can immediately transition to the major league level. That will definitely boost the popularity of the sport here in India. But like I said, I don't think we should set our goals into that. That shouldn't be our first step. If we can establish that platform for these players that are talented, maybe not major league level yet, but if they certainly get the right coaching and spend the right time, maybe we talked about the nutrition a little bit. If we're able to incorporate all of that, it'll make it easier for these players to succeed to the next level. I don't think that we have not seen it yet. Obviously, we haven't been around too much, but that's why it's so important for us to build these relationships and see as much as we can, so that we understand the landscape of baseball that's happening here.
And you already have something in Bangalore for the MLB, right? So they can contact you and find some more information about it online or wherever.
Yes, absolutely. I would love to connect, speak to you personally, whatever it is that helps us get to know you a little bit better, because that's what we're trying to do.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. What would you like to tell the audience who's watching and will watch later as well?
I think it's just an accumulation of what I've tried to emphasize in my answers. But I think baseball is a really fun sport. I'm a big fan of it. I grew up loving it. It's taught me a lot of life lessons. It's helped me develop really as a person. And I think there's a lot of traits in baseball that that can be appreciated here, especially with the similarities of cricket. And I just want more kids, more people out there to get the opportunity to try it out, to be able to consume it. And in order for that to happen, we are going to do our best to make sure what we're doing, sticking to our plan and doing everything in our power. So, we hope to connect with everybody that's already interested in baseball and continue to grow those relationships in the baseball ecosystem here.
That's wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much for your time, and stay safe. We shall meet again soon on SK Live. Thank you for being here on SK Live.
Of course. Thank you so much. It's my pleasure. Thank you everyone for tuning in. We hope to see you soon. And
Yes.
Thank you, Shanvi. Thank you very much for a lovely
Thank
session.
you. Most welcome. Bye bye. Take care and be
Bye.
safe. Bye.